Hey guys, Skellington80 here. So we are back for day 4 of 25 Days of Monsters. And before we begin, I think I actually forgot to show you some of the illustrations on the title pages of Beatrice Rappaccini and Cheops. So I'm just going to show you those before we begin. So this is a picture of an illustration of Beatrice in her garden. You can see the dead insects surrounding her because she has a poisonous touch. And I'm assuming that's either her father or her boyfriend Giovanni peeking in. So yeah, that's the first one. Sorry about the glare. Here's Cheops standing on a rooftop in futuristic London. Dang, Tim Seibert did not mess around with these illustrations. These are like the best. So, without further ado, we bring you the story of the Devilfish from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, written by Jules Verne in 1870. The category is animal, base of operations, the abysmal sea. When, the last several million years, powers, look at all those arms. Most dastardly deed is eating a French guy, and fear factor is 4, even though fear factor is kind of relative, depending from person to person. Fear factor is relative for different people, I suppose. But without further ado, here's the story. For 450 million years ago, cephalopods ruled the seas. It's been downhill for them ever since. There are still plenty of cephalopods, of course. Octopuses and squid, most notably, but those pesky fish with their bones and red blood cells have long since taken over the oceans. The surviving cephalopods are those that are good at hiding or live in places that fish rarely dare to go. In the bone-crushing ocean deeps, for example, where the sunlight cannot reach, fish are nothing but terrified, scuttling prey before one mollusk that still reigns supreme, the giant squid. Mariners used to call such fish squid devilfish, and were terrified of the beasts, even though they rarely come to the ocean's surface. Oh, that's the end of the sentence. Even though they rarely come to the ocean's surface. They lurk deep down out of reach, unless you have some kind of submarine. Enter Captain Nemo, the genius inventor of a deadly submarine called the Nautilus. He was an international criminal, terrorist, and freedom fighter dedicated to ending British imperialism. The son of an Indian Raja from Bundelkhand. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm so sorry if I offended an Indian person in the audience, even though I doubt my channel is that popular. Nemo trolled the seas with his Nautilus, ramming imperialistic ships from underwater with his submarine's pointed prow. When the Nautilus ventured into deep waters, Captain Nemo had the honor of facing against a stupendous kraken. Not just one, but a herd, each with tentacles more than 50 feet long, that wrapped their giant arms around the submarine. Bullets from the ship's guns just bounced off their rubbery bodies, so the ship surfaced, innumerable tentacles still clinging to its sides, and Nemo opened a hatch. He knew the ways of the devilfish, and he decided to fight them at close quarters. Armed with axes and one harpoon, the crew of the Nautilus faced off against 10 or 12 beasts, each with 8 tentacles. Giant squid actually have 10 tentacles, so Nemo must have miscounted. Each tentacle struck like a snake and had 250 suckers that could stick to the victim like vacuums. With flailing axes, Nemo and his crew started severing tentacles which landed writhing on the deck. The harpooner threw his spear to plunge into a squid's sea-green eye and burst it. But in the middle of the carnage, one sailor was encircled by a tentacle and glued to its suckers. Brandishing its victim like a feather, the devilfish waved him in the air as Nemo and his crew amputated its colossal limbs. They managed to hack off 7 tentacles before the devilfish vomited up a cloud of ink, and while everyone was blinded, slipped away into the ocean, its prisoner in tow. Soon the other devilfish followed it in flight. The squid were exceptionally quick in everything they did, thanks to their owning a triple heart. We are assured that the arms and tails of these animals grow back through generations, so don't worry about the devilfish. The devilfish turned out alright. The nautilus, though, was short one crewman. And there's a paragraph here. Sea vampire. Author Victor Hugo, who wrote The Hunchback of Notre Dame, just a side note, imagined that the devilfish is a sort of sea vampire. In his book Toilers of the Sea, 1866, he claims that the devilfish is partly fish, partly reptile, and the suckers on its tentacles are little mouths that are used to suck the blood of its victims. A gluttonous, I don't know, it's spelled Glutinous, mass, endowed with a malignant will. What can be more horrible? None of this is a very accurate description of any real cephalopod, but Hugo wanted his hero to fight one, so he made it scary. Alright. In the belly of the beast. Beyond the book. In the belly of the beast. Who gets swallowed by a sea monster? Jonah in the Bible did it first, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights, but he wasn't the last. Other victims appear in Cinque Canti. It's Italian. I don't speak Italian. I'm so sorry. By Ludovico Ariosto. I'm so sorry if I butchered these names. Please don't get offended. I am American and I do not speak Italian, so please don't get mad at me in the comments. Okay, from 1545. In this epic poem, a sequel to the more famous Orlando Furioso, the brave knights Ruggiero and Astolfo get swallowed by a sorceress's pet whale. Ariosto never finished the poem, so we don't know if they ever get out. The Adventures of Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi, 1883. Both the puppet Pinocchio and his father are swallowed on separate occasions by the enormous dogfish. Fortunately, the dogfish is asthmatic and sleeps with its mouth open, so they are able to clamber out and swim to safety. It's different in the movie. Just So Stories by Rudyard Kipling, the same guy who wrote The Jungle Book, 1902. When a whale swallows a shipwrecked sailor, raft and all, the sailor kicks and stomps around in its stomach so much that the nauseous whale agrees to let him go. On his way out, the sailor fashions a grate out of the remnants of his raft and sticks it in the whale's throat. And that is the reason why whales nowadays never eat men or boys or little girls. So there will be no more of that. On the origin of supervillains. Jules Verne was a guy with a lot of ideas. Scientists getting shot to the moon from a giant cannon, an electric submarine, a journey through caves to the center of the earth. One of Jules Verne's ideas is still wildly popular today, supervillains. Captain Nemo is a brilliant scientist who uses his inventions to terrorize the world. In Rober the Conqueror, 1886, and Master of the World, 1904, the Master terrorizes lesser scientists with flying inventions his henchmen build in their secret island hideout. Even in the early short story A Voyage in a Balloon, 1851, Verne writes of a mad scientist who brags about his knowledge. I have searched all, comprehended all, and plans in a fit of madness to both fly a balloon into the sun, that's kind of stupid, and also to crush the people who have rejected his genius. That's pure supervillainy right there. There would be no Lex Luthor or Doctor Doom without Jules Verne. He invented the supervillain. Alright, get ready for a bit of poetry here. The Kraken. Alfred Lord Tennyson's favorite poem, The Kraken, 1830, depicts a gigantic sea squid that has slept underwater since the dawn of time. Only on the world's last day will he rise from the deeps. Below the thunders of the abyssal deep, far, far beneath in the abysmal sea, his ancient, dreamless, uninvaded sleep, the Kraken sleepeth, faintest sunlights flee. About his shadowy sides, above him swell huge sponges of millennial growth and height, and far away into the sickly light, from many a wondrous grot and secret cell, unnumbered and enormous polypi winnow with giant arms the slumbering green. There hath he lain for ages, and will lie, battening upon huge sea worms in his sleep, until the latter fire shall heat the deep. Then once by men and angels to be seen, in roaring he shall rise, and on the surface die. Notice how Tennyson draws attention to the final line by making it longer. Then it has 2 more syllables than all of the other lines, or to put it technically, the last line is written in iambic. It's spelled iambic, hexameter, 12 syllables per line, while the other lines are written in iambic pentameter, 10 syllables. Keats uses the same trick in the lines quoted from the Lamia on page 115. A hexameter line in this is called an Alexandrine or Alexandrine, I don't know which. Okay, and that is all for today. Have a very happy Halloween season. I will see you tomorrow for part 6, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!